in our traditional way of looking at nutrition, we do try to overfeed our children. It is important to have bone strength, especially in women. Beyond the age of 20 to 30, women start losing the bone density. Walking, yes, it is good for the mental health, but that's not exercise in my opinion. I'm saying it a dose because I'm a doctor. You really need to give that dose. You really need to give that medicine. Exercise is a medicine to the child.
Hi everyone, this is Aditya and I'm the founder of Fitbuds. This is our first podcast and we are very excited to start something for parents who have been trying to get answers to so many questions, and they do get answers, but the social media these days, with the amount of content and the clutter, they get more confused about what to do, how to do, and how to parent better. So we've decided that we will get experts from different domains, from experts who are doctors, nutritionists, exercise specialists, and who can help the parents get better direction about their queries. And most of these questions are very, very common to every modern parent. So today with me, I have someone who's very special, who's come all the way from Mumbai to meet us. And we have Dr. Tejal. Dr. Tejal, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So Dr. Tejal is the founder of Kleinetics, which is a Mumbai-based fitness organization for kids. And you tell us about Kleinetics, please.
In Kleinetics, we are very passionate about making an impact on the health, fitness and wellness of children right from the age of 2, when they start their preschools, and then we take the program as in the form of structured lesson plans, which our coaches are able to deliver in schools and in the after school space as well. So we hope to make an impact for the future citizens of our country.
That's wonderful. That's so much needed to pull the kids out of their shell of comfort, and it's a little different with the present generation, more challenging, rather, I would say a bigger opportunity for today.
Yes, for sure.
That's amazing. So Dr. Tejal, before we start talking about the children of today, let's talk about your childhood. How was your childhood different from the children that we see today?
Oh, completely different. We didn't have screens at that time.
Right.
There was no gadget at all. So I remember very clearly, I used to play a lot. We used to play gully cricket. I used to play with the boys and my brother. And I used to also do a lot of these dance classes. My parents were very, very particular about me joining something which is physical activity for at least 1 or 2 hours on a daily basis.
So the parents wanted you to
be very physically active. Yes. So my father was into a morning ritual of wrestling in the mornings. Wow. And he made sure that me and my brother are also very active always. And
that's so wrestling in the morning, living in Mumbai, and where have you been born? Where is your family from?
So my family we are all Gujaratis.
Wow.
And Kachis. So it's a mix of that. And there used to be an akhada. So my grandfather is also hugely into the exercise, and I think till the age he passed away at the age of 100.
Wow.
Just recently, and till that time he was active, exercising regularly. So within our family there's just a lot of talk about what is the diet, what is the exercise, and how much active we are. But at the same time, we enjoy our food. So it's important to have that.
Yeah, of course. If you're from Gujarat, then you have to enjoy dhokla.
Yes.
After your childhood, which was very, very active, do you still, in your present day, are you still active?
Very, very. So I do a lot of strength training, and Recently, after the age of 40, I really started focusing on powerlifting. So I'm trying to progress there. So let's see how that goes, because I know as a gynecologist, I know it is important to have bone strength, especially in women. Beyond the age of 20 to 30, women start losing the bone density. So it's important. In fact, I should have done that much earlier, but I was active enough. So I think that's fine. But I think every woman should do strength training. Every woman, like starting from the age of your puberty years, I think every woman should do, because they are not blessed with the testosterone that men have. So it's very important to do this strength training and building your muscles, which will really, really help them avoiding fractures, avoiding injuries and joint issues in the future.
So, talk about your later years after you, like what made you decide that you want to pick the medical field and then the stream that you picked?
Yeah, so again, my family is full of doctors, and it was a very natural progression to take up medicine, and I became a gynecologist. And even during my teenage years, I used to watch a lot of Jane Fonda and do the exercises, watching those videotapes, video cassettes very regularly.
And which year was this around?
This is during my college time. So it was in 1992, 93, 94, all those, that entire decade.
So, like, you used to purchase cassettes and then...
Yeah, I don't know if I purchased or my father bought it. I'm not sure.
Wonderful.
But I always had those Jane Fonda cassettes, and I was working out. It was called aerobic exercise at that time.
Wonderful.
And when I do my strength training, even now, suddenly I get flashes of Jane Fonda in front of me.
Yeah,
so
because
it's quite an impression.
This is a time when there's no shortage of content. Alright, so then can you just quickly talk about your journey as a doctor, as a gynecologist?
As a gynaec, I realized that there is a huge problem with lifestyle disorders, and when girls were coming to me with polycystic ovaries and all kinds of hormonal issues, it was nothing to do much with the ovaries per se, but it was more to do with what she's consuming, what is the diet that she's having, how sedentary she is, and all that is disturbing her hormones and disturbing, so it's very important to have a very balanced diet, and very regularly you need to be active. So it was, instead of giving prescriptions as the typical prescription that we give for PCOD patients, I used to create fitness plans and give it as a prescription to these girls. And I said, no, you need to do this. You come and report to me what is the kind of exercise you did from day 1 to day 30. It was not just walking. Walking, yes, it is good for the mental health, but that's not exercise in my opinion. We really need to work out the whole body and really nichod ke rakh do, body ko. It's very important, especially that time when I was practicing, it was so relevant and so much there, lifestyle problems. And now with screens and children sitting on screens for 8 hours, we are going to have a huge problem of diabetes and other lifestyle and all these heart issues coming along in very young children. So that's what changed my outlook towards how am I going to be fair to these kids, if I'm just giving them pills that are just going to continue as pills, and if I don't give them lifestyle advice, the changes the modification that she needs to make, I'm not doing my job right. So that's what changed in me.
And then you changed your career path, and you...
it was like I was in a kickboxing class, and I realized that I think that's really keeping me very mentally very fresh and physically very fit, and I wanted that to continue for my children as well, so that I feared for my own daughter when I was seeing these patients, and that's how it so I approached my kickboxing coach, and he was a friend, and I said we need to start this program, fitness program for my children and the community children. That's how it all started. From one community, we took the fitness program to other communities and then to schools, and that's how we grew.
So, how many centers do you have currently?
We have about 30 to 40 schools where we are executing our program. We are present in Mumbai, Pune and Hyderabad as of now, and we want to take it to many other.
That's wonderful. And over a period of you started in 2016?
We started in 2017.
I would say from my own experience, we're doing pretty much similar things. And I was a banker for around 7 years, and although I worked very, very hard in the bank, I did not get that feeling of accomplishment, that hero-like feeling where I'm making a change or I'm making a difference to the world. But the direct impact that you are creating, I would say, how do you feel about your transition from, although you were doing something very, very important then also, how do you rate your experience then being a doctor versus your experience now being a facilitator for so many activities that more number of kids are participating in day-to-day life?
Okay, so I feel that there is a larger impact to be made. Even as a gynaec, there is a very finite set of things that I could do. But what drives me is that we are headed towards doomsday, and if we don't correct, then who will? Somebody has to do it. It can be a few people, it can be a few others like us, but we really need people like us, right? To make that impact, to create the coaches that you are creating, to take the program, the fitness program, to more children. And that's what changed. I mean, it's definitely going to create a larger, broader impact in the future generation. That's what kind of changed. And
so if we talk about the change that children get if they engage in physical activity, I also read that WHO says that over 75% of the kids and adolescents in the world, they are less physically active, or their physical activity levels are very low.
Yeah.
So, if the problem is so simple, then where are the children getting stuck, or where are the parents getting stuck rather?
In the pandemic, in the first 6 months, only 5% of the world's child population was actually getting the required physical activity. 95%.
Peak of the
peak of the pandemic, and 95% of the children were completely inactive. The 5% who were active, what the reports say, is that those parents used to make an effort. Parents were making an effort to make sure that the children are playing outdoor, getting their physical and activity dose. I'm saying it a dose because I'm a doctor. You really need to give that dose. You really need to give that medicine. Exercise is a medicine to the child, and 95% who are not physically active, it is not upon the coaches, it is not upon the schools. If parents insist, schools will make the change. So they have to make the change.
Even by our experience, the number of kids that we have trained, there are lots of kids who have been with Fitbuds for over 3 years now, and we started 3.5 years ago. So right from the beginning to now, most of the kids who are still active with us are kids whose parents are also regular with gymming, or they're marathon runners, or they have their own physical literacy journey up to the mark. So, and they are able to inspire the kids. I feel that as parents, it's very important to lead from the front.
Yeah.
And set an example.
Yes.
But that is, according to you, the biggest
parents
issue that's stopping.
The child is going to do what the parent is doing. So it's totally depending upon what the child is seeing around them.
So if we talk about playing, although I believe that every person should be playing irrespective of their age, whether you're in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. But then, as adults, someone who has not been active for a very, very long time, that breakthrough from being inactive to active, how would you suggest that a parent starts? Because playing will be very, very difficult. They don't know about their abilities. They jump, will they twist their ankle, what will happen? And fitness is something that they've never done. If we talk about personal training, it may be affordable for some, it may not be affordable for some. So what can be a solution that parent can start with and the children can subsequently follow?
I think we are being very nice. You are being very nice. They have to work out. I mean, if they don't get injured by fitness exercise, they will get injured by falling ill or having some bone fracture or some if they are unfit, and they are going to get into more trouble. So the medical expenses which are going to come up when they are unfit will be far greater than the expense that they need to put when they are doing prehab. Why I call exercise is prehab is because it's going to have...
It's more like prevention.
Yeah, it's
prevention,
right? So exactly. So they better do it.
Wow.
I mean...
so there's no choice. You have to go out and sweat. Whether you go out or you don't go out, there's a lot of medium these days where you can do
what
things at
I
home.
would say to the example that you gave, when the parents are coming, they are afraid of being judged. I think maybe they can have a separate class which is not along with the kids or alongside with the kids. Maybe that could be a solution. But they need to figure it out themselves, and they need to... The very fact that they are coming and dropping the child to your class is that they want the child to be physically active. They want that, right? And they know the importance. So I'm sure they will be doing something or the other. Yeah. Or at least trying to.
Now the thing is that, of course, everyone wants to be fit. Everyone wants to look good, feel good. And the solution is fitness.
Yes, I think 30s or 40s is even better than starting to exercise in 70s and 80s.
Yeah, true. Although it's never too late.
Yeah.
So my dad, he is 70 plus now. So earlier he was very active with his walks, and he used to do skipping and certain things, push-ups and stuff. Nice. But recently, when I used to transition my career to being a fitness coach, so he took a lot of inspiration, and now he does squats, sit-ups, push-ups, sprints. He started running 8 to 10 kilometers at the age of 70.
Wow.
So for people who are in their 30s and 40s, what can
there's no excuse. I think you better go out and do it.
So Tejal, tell me a few more queries that parents come up with, and how do you respond to them?
So parents have a lot of doubts about weight loss, for example. They are very concerned. Pre-puberty, there is a certain chubbiness that the child has, and it's absolutely normal, it's fine. But we do have like in our traditional way of looking at nutrition, we do try to overfeed our children, right? So
that's a problem every mother has, I think.
Yes.
That the child does not either does not eat enough or does not eat specific food. So you'll very rarely find a mother who's not complaining about their child's eating habits.
Yes.
How are your children like their eating habits? If you can say that on record. If they don't.
They do have their time periods when they like to eat out or a little bit of junk food. But I think they balance quite well. They're very aware of what is good. That protein is important, which is like chicken and eggs. They have very regularly. I think there's not a single day when they don't have eggs.
All right.
So that's how they are very aware. I think because the coaches have also been telling them, they've been training, the sports that they've been playing. So I think that they kind of...
I think as a mother, you'd be like a little lucky, and that your children have not troubled you much.
They do trouble me. They don't like Gujarati food. So I don't know if that is trouble, but I think
Right.
So they don't. They like good food. They like to put the butter on the pav. I think fat is very good, ghee has come back with a vengeance, and we realize now the importance of how fat is equally important for so many systems in our body. Fat is important for our endocrine system, the hormones. So it's just so many of these the information that is given to us, the content which is distributed in media, we have to really look at it with critical eye. Not everything is
absorb relevant things, and maybe the authenticity of the channel where it's coming from.
Very important.
So I want to ask you, Tejal as a mom versus Tejal as a founder of Kleinetics, is the approach the same when it comes to, because it's easier said than done. I as a coach can talk to parents about 10 different things, but my child may or may not listen to me, and I have a softer corner for my child. So did you ever face any challenges being like you telling someone something but your children themselves don't listen, and then any such stories?
It happens. I think my children listen to their coaches. I think coaches play a very important role in their lives. So I think that's what I want to in fact tell all the parents, that it is important that you realize that parenting is like, it takes a village to raise a child, right? Wow. It's not just the family, it is also the teachers in the school, it is your coach, it is your whatever, so it's important that the child absorbs from all these channels. And a coach, when the child sees a coach who is fit and he talks about eating the right fruits, having an apple a day, so that really impacts the child, and we've had children where
I feel the parents are like they have so much to say. You need to study, you need to sleep on time, you need to eat healthy, you need to go out and play, you need to talk to these kids and then not talk to these kids, and then you need to do your homework.
So that
so
happens
the
with me.
Kids have too much to absorb from the parents, and then when it comes from someone whom they are playing with, like, so lots of parents call me up and they say like we do like kind of a mock drama, like, okay, can you say this to my child, and then he listens to you, and then I'm like, okay, what are you having for lunch today? He would be like this. Why don't you add some spinach or some other leafy green vegetables? The child is like, I like it, but whatever. So then they get inspired and motivated, and that thing really works. As a coach, we do have that privilege of children listening to us. Okay, let me ask you about certain questions that I have a list of questions that parents have asked me. How long is the journey? Like, if they are registering with your program, how long is the program going to be?
Okay, so there's, fitness is a lifelong thing, right? It's a habit that we are cultivating in a child. If they come to us with a specific problem or a requirement, like we need to increase the speed or we need to work on the motor coordination, so all that we can address over a period of 1 to 2 years. Whatever the goal is, we do a goal setting and then accordingly we plan. But general fitness, if the child is adopting a very fit lifestyle and starts doing it as a schedule, as part of his calendar. So that is.
So this is a lifestyle. So it goes on till life goes on.
It is part of your lifestyle. It should become a part of whatever you're doing. I think what we call as a physically literate person, it's important that they don't sit in one place. Like even in between school periods, I think they need to get up, move around, jump, do something which is probably going to freshen up their mind. It really does. because those happy hormones will open up your mind, your brain, and you will focus more better in your academics as well.
Correct.
So
when you exercise, your body releases endorphins, which are happy hormones, which are like stress busters, and that is why the kids love to play. And even when they are back from play, they're tired, but they are like full of energy. They'll keep jumping around and then they'll sleep on time.
yes.
So that's an added advantage, which parents, they don't come and ask us, but then they see the change that the child goes to bed on time, eats more, which is the dream of most parents. And when will the child start eating more? Start making them work harder, make them run more, play more. They come home and then they eat more, sleep on time. Like life is sorted for the parents also. Like won't go on like watching TV for longer, because then body will be tired and sleep. Okay, I want to know about weight loss. How parents approach weight loss when they come to you, because obesity is again a very big issue. The childhood obesity, especially after COVID, we got a lot of cases. So, how do you maybe talk to the parents about the weight loss journey? What should their approach be as parents, and how do you take it up?
Weight loss exercise is definitely a important thing to look at, but I think more important is what is the child consuming. Weight loss means you need to get the child into a calorie deficit, reduce the amount of calories that he's taking and more of calorie consumption. I mean, expenditure. Sorry. Yeah. So that needs to happen. So whatever nutrition, what is the diet? You need to really look at it with a magnifying glass and understand the macros, understand how much carbs, fats, balance it out with the right amount of protein. A lot of protein should fill up the stomach, right? And make sure that the child is not hungry very often. And too much of sugary drinks and sugar will keep on increasing that increase in hunger. So I think it's important that a nutrition angle is taken into account.
So a few things that what I like talking to parents about is that although it's easier said than done, because the children, they are watching other kids do things, and then a lot of inspiration from what they see on the TV, the different TV ads for soft drinks and fried food, packaged food. The goal is to be as natural as possible, as much whole food as possible, and avoiding sugar and fried food, I think, are the two most important things that.
And that's like a daily thing. You have to just keep on saying it daily.
Yeah, but I mean, that is a challenge, because and I believe it. Food is for your soul. It is definitely for your body, but when you are happy, how do you celebrate? You celebrate by eating your favorite food, and if you're killing that, then again. But then I think it is the word is moderation.
Yes.
That you need to moderate it well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Balance it well. When we talk about moderation, is screen time to be moderated, or everywhere I keep reading zero screen time, no screen time till the child becomes 12 years old.
No screen time is not possible, because a lot of learning is happening online. Okay. A lot of even, in fact, fitness can happen online. Okay. So that needs to be kind of audited. What is it that the child is doing on screen? And that is, of course, something that we need to look at as parents. So screen time, we need to see what is going on the screen.
So let's talk about games that children love to play. Should we allow games to children? Should we or should we not? Or does that have to be in moderation?
It should be moderation.
Movies, cartoons.
Again, it should be some moral at the end of the story of whatever the child is consuming, something which the child is going to take away from that cartoon or whatever comic that they are watching on screen.
So more about being relevant.
Yeah, if there is a story, if there is something some learning from the story, I think why not?
One last parent query that comes to us very, very often, and I would want to know your opinion on it. It's about gaining height. So, if a parent asks you that, will my child grow tall in your program, what would be your answer?
So we should recommend that parents enroll their children in fitness programs very early on, before puberty, right? So definitely it will have a positive impact on the height.
Okay.
Yeah, and workouts are going to strengthen your bones, your muscles, so and your posture will get better. So obviously, the curvatures of the spine also contribute to the height. So
Correct.
yeah, so if you have a healthy spine, the healthy bone structure, your stature is going to be taller, right? And it is important that this happens before puberty, because as soon as puberty starts, there is the fusion of the epiphyseal joints. So it's the right time to start with the workouts and the programs, various fitness programs at the age of 2.5, when the child is just started walking, hopping. That is the time to start with the fundamental movement skills, the program and functional movements, sports, everything before the age of 12 and 13.
Wonderful.
And continue with it throughout life.
Do you also believe that they should try a lot of different sports before they are like 12 years old?
Yeah.
And even after that. But then, like, if someone likes playing football, for example, because these days we have a lot of football frenzies and they only like to play football, talk about exercise, they will be like, why do I have to do it? I can just play football. But then, do you have any message for children who want to do one single sport or one single activity? Do you recommend that? And then, what would be your...
So, a lot of children enjoy football because...
For example, even dance, because there are lots of kids who want to only dance.
Yeah, they enjoy dance. So, yeah, I mean, it is important to have a very basic FMS training first.
FMS is fundamental.
Yeah, fundamental movement skills training, which sets a foundation, and on the basis of this foundation, then they can take up different sports. One particular sport is also fine, but to give credit to football, I think football as a sport is excellent for fitness. I think overall fitness, upper body, lower body, everything, right? Swimming, for example, is again full overall fitness, and squash also. So again, I'm just going.
Most of the sports are wonderful, but then what I have been doing is someone who plays football, I recommend the parent that let him go for a swim at least twice in a week, or to mix it up. So yeah,
it's a good combination to have football and swimming and squash,
because football is more of lower body dominated, swimming is more of upper body
that
dominated.
too, and I feel individual sports, one
versus
individual
team sports.
and team sports.
Yeah.
I think both should be tried.
True.
Yeah, both, and it kind of gives different types of life skills to the child. Like for example, swimming and squash will give lot of discipline.
But the issue is that a child, and also it's never a child's issue, it's always a village that takes to build a child. So it's a village's issue, rather parent and child. They have got so many tuition classes right from the age of 5. I don't know. I'm not too sure if kids who are 3 years or 4 years old go for tuition classes, but right from 5 or 6 years old, tuition classes start, and then they have some kind of many kids have foreign language to learn, 1 or 2 musical instruments. Then they might have a few public speaking or coding or something. So, whereas I would not say that it's not a great thing to be aspirational as a parent. every parent would want their child to learn coding, to be an all-rounder. But where is the time for a child to play football and then go for swimming and then do fitness and then also play squash on a weekend? So how much can a child do and how to balance that lifestyle? You've been a parent to 2 kids, and how have your children managed it, and what would you recommend to parents in general?
It's quite tough to be a parent now because there is so much.
It's easy to comment as a coach, why don't you do this and why don't you feed him that? But yeah, easier said than done.
Yeah, so there is definitely what I see from like a zoomed out view is that the education system itself, now that you're talking about the extracurriculars, right? I think why is the extracurricular so crowded is because the education system itself is, I think, needing a lot of change. Whatever the kids are doing in the extracurricular space where they should be actually not doing anything, all that should be part of the curriculum. So sports, for example, should be part of the curriculum. Robotics, coding, all this should become a part of what the school is also teaching. So when the child is outside the school, they should continue with some of these few things and keep themselves occupied in that. Otherwise, where's the time, for the child? The schools really need to have this kind of a transformation. We are trying to.
I think
have. The education system needs to change.
The education system is evolving. It's a very difficult thing in a country of over 1 billion people and like more than 300 million kids to have something at a very large scale implementation. I agree with everything that you said.
Yeah, and the systems are set, some age-old systems are going on.
Yeah.
So that really needs to have, it's very, very difficult to change it and make these transformations, but that is the only way out, I feel. Because even I as a parent is guilty of doing this torture to my children.
So 5 bullet points from Tejal for every parent that makes their life easy or makes the life of their children better.
Okay, so 5 is a bit too much.
Okay, let's start with 3 and then I'll give you some more time to think of 2 more points if you can add. Otherwise, I'll butt in with a few more pointers. So, 3.
Yeah, so lead by example.
Lead by example, parents. You do it, children copy you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they will say, first you do and then you come and talk to me.
Yes. And I think do not compare children with other children. I think that really demotivates.
Over here in India, we have that Sharma ji ka ladka.
Yeah.
He's a topper and the parents are like,
yeah, so your child is very unique, I think, let the child get better from compare the child with the...
Don't you think that competition builds that character of...
so the child can compete with their own intrinsic competitive spirit, not the parent should not compare. The child, if he sees another child, he wants to get better than that child, so that's the child's intrinsic motivation to kind of get better.
But I believe there's a very thin line between motivating a child and comparing him to someone else. Because as a parent, you might just say, do you see that this guy is focusing so much better when the coach is teaching? Can you try and learn from him or something? And the child will be like, why am I being compared? So as a parent, it's very, very tricky.
It's not, I agree what you're saying, but these are 2 separate things. Comparing, what I was trying to say is that comparing sometimes demotivates the child. That my mother thinks that he's better than me and I'm of no good, because the child's mind can go in any direction. But what you are saying is that the child, if you package it correctly, you really have to package it in the right positive way. Okay, so that this child who is doing his homework in this particular manner, what are the methods this child is using? Is it something that we can learn from, or do you think our methods are good enough? So
Got it.
maybe package it in a different way.
Got it. So first pointer was that you have to lead by example. The second pointer was that you should not compare, and the third pointer.
Praise the effort of the child, not the
Okay.
outcome.
All right.
Yeah.
I get it.
So whatever the child is doing, whether it's academics or sports, even if they win the match or they don't win the match or whatever it is, I think it's better to praise the effort by the child. That he really played well for 2 hours. That's huge. I think that is something that we need to keep praising. That because he was in this particular defense, he didn't allow these goals to go through. I think you can just package it in ways where the effort of the child is praised more than the
And
outcome.
that can be used in so many other things also. Like if we're talking about the weight loss journey, let's talk more about the effort
Yes.
than the result.
Yeah.
That you need to be consistent, and I see that you've been trying, you've been compromising with a few things, which is great, and I appreciate it. And let's not look at the scale very, very frequently. That how many kgs you've gained or lost. It's not about kgs. Let's talk more about the high energies that the child is feeling once that he starts putting in the effort.
Yeah, whatever mindset changes that he's making, the discipline that he's trying to inculcate, the things that he is wanting to now avoid eating, I think that effort, it really takes a huge effort, by the way. If he's going to avoid something that he likes,
Yeah,
I think that is something that we need to keep praising.
that's true.
Yeah, instead of just criticizing that, you had a slice of pizza. He is allowed to have a slice of pizza once a week or whatever.
Yeah. So, Dr. Tejal, it was so good to have you as our first guest on this Fitbuds podcast, and it's a privilege to have someone who's a doctor and then a founder, like making an impact on so many lives. Thank you so much.
I really enjoyed. Thank you for having me.